Hi, and welcome to our January 2022 show. This is The Place to Be, Oshkosh, and I'm your host, John Neiman, Executive Director at Father Carr's Place to Be. We're doing this show because we want to highlight and spotlight agencies in town that utilize volunteers for their events, or agencies that use volunteers in special ways that you may not know about. This show is made possible because of our sponsors, and our sponsors are Father Carr's Place to Be, and also the Oshkosh Herald, a wonderful paper that gives you all the news that's going on in our community. Our floral design is also by Brian of U Bloom in Oshkosh. If you haven't been there, check them out. I'd like to just talk a little about the holidays. It's January, it's a new year. We've all made those promises, those pledges, but I really want to go back and thank all the agencies, all of the businesses in town who gave to support all of our not-for-profits. Fundraisers were done for a lot of people, whether it was bowling, whether it was a dart ball, whether it was college kids getting together in the fraternity or sorority. They all worked together to support our agencies, and for that, I'm very grateful. I also want to talk about Father Carr's food resources that we have. We're changing the hours because of winter. Our drive-through food pantry used to be every Friday from 8 to 11, but our volunteers would have to get there at 6 a.m. to get things ready. And with the unpredictable weather and the snowfall, we've decided to push it back on Fridays. So now our drive-through food pantry for the winter months will be 10 a.m. till noon. That will give the snowplows a chance to get out, get rid of all the snow, get rid of all the ice. We also have something called our Daily Bread, which you might not know about. Our Daily Bread is like a little pantry food store, and that's open from 10 a.m. to 2 p.m. weekdays or until the food runs out. People just come into Father Carr's and they can shop around for perishable items like fruits and vegetables or bread. It's one way that we can give back to the community, to those in need. And again, it's all made possible because of volunteers and because of donors. And for that, again, we're very grateful. Thank you for joining us. Stay tuned. We'll be right back with our guests on this January edition of The Place to Be.
This is CJ, CEO of CJ's Produce. I'm the muscle, she's the brains.
It works.
My great-grandfather acquired Brantley Estates in the early 1950s. Mama Tia is my grandmother. She was actually the first in the family to get vaccinated. I was afraid. I came up with every excuse. My grandmother got her shot. I saw how strong she was. Why can't I? CJ needs his father to show him how to become a man. So I am fully vaccinated. I have somebody counting on me, so we made the leap.
We're back, and our guest, Kim Verstegen, has been in Oshkosh, has worked a lot in Oshkosh, has grew up in Oshkosh. Her mother, Carol, was one of my best ever volunteers at Aurora. She was great. She was super, and so are you. So Kim, do you want to introduce yourself? Tell everybody what your title is now, and then introduce the guest you brought along.
Well, thank you, John. It's great to be here, and it's great to see you back in this role, because we, as volunteer coordinators and working for nonprofits in our community, really appreciate being spotlight and be able to promote our programs in which we serve. So currently, I'm with the Board on Aging Long-Term Care Volunteer Ombudsman Program. So it is my role to go and recruit volunteers to go into long-term care facilities and advocate for our residents residing in long-term care. And in addition, we strengthen the facilities with for our regional ombudsman, and we encourage our residents to speak for themselves, and if they can't speak for themselves, we help to support speaking for them and their families.
Okay, now, you said a word twice, and I was the 8th grade spelling bee champion at my school, but I can't spell the word. You said the word twice. Tell me what an ombudsman is.
So an ombudsman is, they're advocates. And it's a term, ombudsman. It's spelled just as it says. So I know. I caught ombudsman. I got
See,
caught in.
I know. I
early
kept
life,
looking
too.
at it, thinking, "How am I going to say this?" And of course, I said it wrong anyway.
No, you
But-
did. You did it good.
But so
I
you're-
brought my volunteer Erin with me, and so I recruit the volunteers, and I get wonderful people such as Erin, and she's been with me for how long?
6 years.
6 years, and I've not met you yet. Kim,
You're not going to take my volunteer from me.
and how long have you been in your role?
10 years. This 2022, I'll be 10 years already with the Board on Aging Long-Term Care.
Congratulations.
Yes,
That's really,
thank
really
you.
nice.
Yeah,
Wow.
it is. It's a great spot to be. John and I have always been in volunteer management, and we've worked in many different areas within the city of Oshkosh and
Yep.
the state, basically.
Right.
So to be here with you and representing the Board on Aging Long-Term Care Volunteer Ombudsman Program and having Erin with me is just a comfort zone I appreciate so much.
Oh.
So
Can you tell us, Erin, why did you get involved with this program?
Absolutely. I've always been interested in working with the elderly population. And 6 years ago, a friend of mine was at the YMCA in Green Bay and saw the brochure advertising for the program and called me up and said, Erin, there is something that I think you're going to be really excited about, and I'm going to put it in the mail. So I was like, what's coming, what's coming? And what came was this brochure talking about the Volunteer Ombudsman Program. And I was so excited, I immediately filled out the application and looked forward to receiving a phone call back from Kim.
Can we clone you? I mean,
Isn't that the truth?
that is just, it's almost like a magical story that somebody would see the brochure and know that it was a fit for you.
Right.
yeah.
So are you a people person? Is that what drew you to this, or?
I do. I love working with people, and especially having grown up with wonderful grandparents, it has always been a passion of mine to make the lives of older people that might not have perhaps a lot of visitors, their lives just a little brighter.
Why I think this is so cool, because really Kim has gone full circle in her life, because we both started out working at Bethlehem in the kitchen, where Kim would crack up the elderly residents all the time. And that was what was cool.
Well, that's where our passion started.
Yeah,
Our
and that's
passion
where it
started
was,
as
with
young
people.
very young people.
Because
in long-term
you know,
care.
some people, especially in today's world, some of the younger people don't know what a nursing home or a care center is because their grandparents are younger and they don't lose them. And so they're scared to go into a nursing home. But for us, it was just a cool experience where we threw special parties, luau's and all that for the older people. It was a great bonding thing.
Right.
And for you to say that too, that you have such great memories and you want to take care of those who maybe can't speak for themselves, I think that's really, really neat.
Yeah, so Erin, you're a wonderful volunteer, and she's been advocating for us, and you make your weekly visits, so once a week, our volunteer, once we get recruited, they go through their screening process, and we set up an initial placement for them at the designated facility, and then the volunteer will make our weekly visits, and pre-COVID it was 2 to 3 hours per week, but now we're limited to 1 hour per week, and we basically are going to resident council meetings just to be a figure within the resident council meetings to advocate and just listen to where the residents' voices are at that point. So after that, you make your weekly visits, and you residents get to know the volunteer ombudsman. They know that they can voice their opinion. The volunteer will also encourage them to participate in activities. We're hands off. We don't push wheelchairs. We're not part of we're basically advocates,
Okay.
and we support that. That's what we support.
So when you go to a care facility or a care center, are you looking for certain residents there, or how do you start the conversation with people?
So when I enter a facility, and I think it's important to know that our visits are pre-COVID anyways, we would come anytime between the hours of 8 a.m. and 8 p.m., 7 days a week. So the facility is not aware, and the residents really aren't aware of when we're coming, because we really would like to see how things are going, in a natural
Natural
Day-to-day.
environment. Yep.
Exactly. And so when I come into the facility, I will greet whomever I see, and I try to visit with as many residents as I can within like a 3-hour time frame. And that kind of
Pre-COVID. Because now we're
pre-COVID.
limited.
Right.
We're very limited
right.
now.
And so I introduce myself when I enter a room and explain a little bit about what our program
You do,
is.
okay.
Yep. And
Our resident rights cards?
our resident rights cards, we always pass those out because it's important that they have that phone number to call in the event that they have a concern that they're not comfortable necessarily talking with an employee of the nursing home about. That is something that they can do, or they can share that with family members. And so if they are up for a visit, I am happy to visit with them, get to know them, and let them know that I'll be coming every week. And in the event if there's anything they would like to chat about, that's what I'm there for. And through these visits, if there is a concern that they have that they, with their permission, they would like me to visit with a staff member about, like during our exit interview, that we always do before we leave the facility with the healthcare administrator or the director of nursing, I let them know that, in today's visit, this is what, is happening. And then hopefully after I leave, the issues will get resolved. So when I come back the following week, I will check up and see if how the residents are doing. And then in the event, if there's a repeat concern, I let Kim know, who then lets the regional ombudsman know.
So how long has this program been in existence? You've been there 10 years.
Right. Well, it was way before that. But the volunteer ombudsman program came in it's been over 25 years.
Wow.
Yes.
Okay. So it
Because we
wasn't
did-
there when we were working. So we
Well,
were.
the regional ombudsman program was there, but the volunteer
was.
component wasn't there. So we have been
Oh.
with 25 years. And I think the regional ombudsman program is coming up into 50. if I
Because this
remember
is
right.
something that I didn't know anything at all about till Kim told me about her new job. I didn't know that this went on. Because some places have secret shoppers. Like clinics
Right.
and hospital has the secret shoppers. But I really didn't know about this because it's great to have an advocate for someone who may not have family members, or who may be lonely, or who may have concerns, but they don't feel like they can speak up. So are they really honest with you, the residents?
They really are. And I think it's important, though, to know that trust, it takes some time, a couple of
build.
visits perhaps, that they realize that, wow, this person really is for real. They really are coming every week. But once that trust has been established, I think most people do feel comfortable talking about things that are maybe bothering them or things that are going really well. Because sometimes that's the case too.
Oh, yeah. People giving a lot of praise
Yeah.
for the new
That's
staff or
that's
what's
really
happening
good.
now.
That's
Yes.
really good to note that.
Yes. Right. Yeah.
So do you find a difference between the men and the women in sharing information or not? Because sometimes men keep things inside.
I
Is
would
there specific?
say,
Yeah, I don't know
I
if
would
it
say, not necessarily. I would say overall, the life expectancy has shown that women live longer than men. So there would be more female residents, I
Yep.
think, on average. However, the gentlemen that I have visited with over the years have been equally, I would say,
Oh, yeah.
willing to share.
Yes. And being able to advocate for their
Yeah.
concerns and their needs and their families also.
Does the family member ever get involved with anything that you're doing,
Well,
or
with a volunteer, you've developed relationships with family members, but basically we like to educate the family members about the regional ombudsman, the ombudsman
Okay.
program, through our 800 line that they are able to call, so that they know that they have a voice also and
Okay.
support. And then once we hear the concern, we were able to refer it on to a regional ombudsman, and they actually address the situation. They have more of the authority. We might
Okay.
identify it, but they have the authority
Okay.
to be able to help for the resolution and being there for that family member or that resident. So it's really a win-win for everybody concerned.
well, to have a voice?
Right.
At that age of your life when you should be enjoying your life and other things are going on.
Right.
That's tremendous to have.
Right. And the people in long-term care have health issues, and that's why they're there. So
Definitely.
if we can advocate for them, or it can be as simple as their meals are cold or their laundry is lost and things like that. Those are big things in long-term care for if you're in a facility day to day. To not have your clothing or your laundry, or if it's not labeled right and you're wondering
Right.
where that is.
And those are problems that you hear constantly with people
Right.
saying, my family will do my clothes for me because
Right.
I'll get my clothes,
Right.
I'll get my clothes back or
Right.
something.
So your laundry services.
Right.
But all the facilities that I've ever been affiliated with are really frontline advocates, or they want to serve the residents. That's why we are welcomed. I have not had a situation where I'm not welcomed
Really?
into a long-term care facility, because they like to have the extra eyes and the ears and the voice. And like Erin had said, that we do an exit interview, so we were able to voice it and tell them what's going on, because maybe Erin might hear something that they won't hear. So
So do you do the exit interview with the administrator or with some part of the staff?
Typically, with the healthcare administrator, we
Okay.
would do the exit interview with.
Wow, that's
However,
really important because that's a big position to take time to do that. That
Right.
really shows a lot about your program.
and they're very interested in, what transpired. If if there's things that changes they can make, because oftentimes there are things that can be rectified.
easily. And we'd like to get them rectified before they actually go out, because our regional ombudsmen are extremely busy and they cover other parts of long-term care that we don't. We're just in
Okay.
the skilled nursing facilities. So if we can rectify it prior to that, that would be the way we would like to
Okay.
move it. So
So do you think the residents, like say their laundry's been lost or their food is cold, do you think that they deal with it right away, and then if they don't get anywhere, then they tell you?
Sometimes,
Okay.
but I think sometimes the residents also are afraid to bring things to the staff's attention for fear of retaliation or things like that. And so by voicing those concerns to us, it kind of takes that away.
Well, when you think about that in our own world today, I'm basically that type of person too. I can get really bad service, but I'm not going to speak up. I'm going to make excuses
Right.
and go on, and you have to learn to speak up for yourself when it's important. And if I'm afraid to do it, I can't imagine somebody who's maybe doesn't have the support system that I do
Right.
would be able to do it. So
well, that's where Erin, the relationship that she develops with the residents and the facility and the staff is instrumental to what our work is as volunteer ombudsmen. You definitely have a relationship. And I have 18 other volunteers that they are clones. They are all phenomenal people. And that's what they do. And the passion that you see, I mean, it's a very rewarding for me as a
Wow.
coordinator who has had the opportunity to recruit these wonderful volunteer ombudsmen. Obviously, you know what it is to have the volunteers in your programs.
Right.
They're unbelievably great people, and they're pillars of our society.
Yep.
And they make a difference.
and you have to find the right position for the right person.
Right.
Because sometimes somebody will come in for one thing and you know that there's just not a fit for that, or the joy isn't there, and then you find them something else.
Yeah, that will work better
Definitely
for
to
them.
do. Yeah.
To refer them on, or where they, as coordinators, we've always been referring people on
Right.
to each other. But yeah, I have currently 18 volunteers within the program, and I cover northeastern Wisconsin. So I cover Dorr, Winnebago, Brown, Outagamie, Calumet, Manitowoc, and Kewaunee. So that's
That's a pretty big area.
That's a big area, and we have volunteers in. Remember, we're in skilled nursing facilities, and we have at least one volunteer in each county currently at this point. So, right, there's a lot of recruitment that takes place. So I'll go out to maybe volunteer fairs. I'll put brochures at the YMCA's.
So people, brochures work. Everything this day is Instagram, and I'm not even with all that. That's what it is today. But
Yes.
brochure, hard copies. People want a hard copy of something to
Right.
see and read on their own time.
Right, or we go to the volunteer fairs, or the
Yes.
health fairs, or
Yep.
the community fairs that are taking place.
Exactly.
And then people come through, and then we're able to market our programs and tell them. And people that are interested in working with the elderly and the older population and long-term care and advocates, this is the right program for them. Because, and like we said, I have 18 currently active volunteers, and since we can't make facility visits, which we're starting to edge back in, but currently we stayed afloat visiting residents through virtual. We attended the virtual resident council meetings. We kept our facilities involved with us. So we've kept a relationship that has continued even
Okay.
under the current situation.
Because we
that's
have to
taking place.
adapt.
So we adapted. Our volunteers got on Teams. They got on Zoom. We go to in-services, monthly coffee clutches. We continue to develop our relationships. So it's been a challenge, but we've managed to keep things going, and it's extremely fulfilling. It's very fulfilling. And actually, I did one training. I had one training with 2 new volunteers, ombudsmen. It was up in Brown County. And so we got 2 new people placed in facilities, and we had to do things virtually, but they both started to attend resident council meetings. One of these volunteers has winters in Florida, but she can still attend virtually to the resident council meeting.
So there's actually a bonus then for
Yes.
that, because you have
She can still-
technology and she can
Right.
still do it.
She can still be part of that way. And so actually we have told the facility that if they did have a resident that needed a visitor, or needed someone to talk to, that we were always there for them. But again, we always are advocates for our residents, and we like them to know that there is a resource for them that if they do. And we can always, then we refer them on to the regional ombudsman
Okay.
for their situations that may need more concern towards.
So you've been doing it 6 years. So
Yes.
how often do you go then in a week?
Oh, I go 1 time a week.
One time a week?
And I would say 3 hours would be about the average amount of time that I spend in the facility. And really, it is just so very, very rewarding seeing that helping foster better communication between the residents and the staff. I've just really seen
Oh, yeah.
how much of a difference this program has made.
So do you go to one facility only, or do you travel?
So I was assigned to one facility, and that's how I've gotten to know the residents
See,
so well.
And that was my question too, because I think it makes it so much easier if the same person's coming
Yes.
Oh, right. The
all
trust.
of the time,
The trust
right?
is
Instead of
built.
getting a different person all
Yeah,
the
the
time.
continuity of trust was
Wow.
there.
And there's a poster of the person that's assigned as the volunteer ombudsman at the facility so that the residents can see, oh, there comes Erin. That's right. I see your poster. So
All right, who took the picture? Is it a good picture?
Kim took it. She did a really nice job.
That's the biggest thing with some of the volunteers. It's like, oh, I want to take a picture for Facebook or something. Oh, my hair's not right. This isn't right. Men too. And it's like, I'm glad you did it. I'm glad you look good in that picture then too.
So, yes, of course. We see the heart. We see the heart.
And I think that's true. I want to say, we wear the masks because we want to protect ourselves and other people. But I can see people smiling through their mask. I can see it in the eyes.
Right,
And in the
right.
facial expressions. And that's what counts. That's what matters.
that is.
And you can see it in your eyes. You can.
So in the visits, in the weekly visits that Erin makes, she gets a stack of resident rights cards, which I don't have any with me to be able to give you some. They have the right for their medical help. They have the right to know what their care plans are. The residents do. So Erin will pass out resident rights cards so that they have that empowerment when she makes her
Okay.
visits. So they get this laminated card that tells them about their rights. And if you would go to a resident council meeting, they always have to read a right for the residents. So they acknowledge the rights of the residents, and that's what we do. We're advocating for the resident rights of our program.
So do the residents know about this program when they're entering the skilled
Well,
facility?
I'm sure it's covered, but remember when
but
you come in
you
and
give
go,
so much
yes,
information.
you get what to
Okay.
know before you sign the dotted line in long-term
Okay.
care.
And there again, it should be Erin's picture on the screen, but that's what it says. I mean, what you do, and I love the hands.
Yes, improving lives one visit at a time, and that's definitely what we do. We empower them, we listen to residents, and we be their voice and protect their rights so that they do. And of course, they are supposed to read, but when you're getting admitted into a long-term care facility, you're under a stress. There's duration of stress that's taking place, and families it's a situation. So
Because you don't know why they're being admitted. I mean, is it their health? Is it because they can't take care of themselves anymore? And that's a big stressor to go through
Right.
anyway.
Right. So right, just being there, and of course, because we started working with the older adult that when I was just a young person that now probably would be 120 years old, you know, the compassion has always been there, and Erin had the same. You have a background in gerontology also. Yeah, you have. She's educated in gerontology.
So for our audience again, I'm not going to ask you to spell it, but tell us what gerontology is.
Gerontology is the work of older adults,
Okay.
or older population,
All right.
senior population.
Because we have to explain. I'm not asking you to spell it, though. But right.
Yes. So I'm sure there's a more. We'd have to get Wikipedia out so they can tell us that.
And then again on the screen they have your information for the. So if anybody's interested, they should call the 1-800 number.
Yes, please call the 1-800 line, and there is a call. Connie is our call person that will answer, and she'll refer it. She'll refer you to me. So yeah, if anyone's interested, or go up to the website and look up Board on Aging Long-Term Care, and information is there also. And if you have a resident or if you have a loved one that's in a long-term care facility and you need some advocacy, you can get your answers there also.
Which would make sense too, or if somebody's looking into different facilities.
Right. Yes, and our regional ombudsman can advise on facility. You know, they can't tell you what facility, but they can
Right.
at least learn the rights that you have within admitting your loved one to a facility. So, yeah, it's a great state program. We do a lot of good work, and Erin can testify to that. She's been with us for 6 years. Met many people. We've had the 25-year anniversary celebration. And so, yeah, when you ask about years, it's been at least 27 now.
Wow.
But 50 for the regional ombudsman. It's been with us.
So when I placed volunteers in my other positions, if they were in the cancer unit or if they were in a hospice, you're going to lose someone that you care about. How do you deal with that?
Yes,
you're
it's
getting to know these people, and
You're right, it is. It's always hard when residents pass away. But what keeps me going is to know that in some way, be it small or, I feel that as long as I can feel that I made some difference in their life, it's all good.
because I would think that would be very hard to do because you're meeting men, you're meeting women, their situations, you're trying to help them, you do help them, and then to have them leave. If you look at it in a positive way, you've helped them, and they're in a much better place for what
That's right.
you've
Yes.
done. And I really have to admire, that's a big commitment that you're giving. Because it's not like, and I have nothing against, I have some volunteers who want to put newsletters together. That's where they want something to do like that. But you're giving of your emotional time too, which is really, really important.
Thank you.
And you got to put it in a category within your own heart, and know that the advocacy is what you're there for. Because definitely we've seen a lot of changes that have taken place for people,
I bet.
and supporting with their families too.
Right.
Well, our time is winding down, believe it or not. Any last thing you want to say?
Well, in our audience, if you enjoy working with the older adult population, please look at that 800 line or look up Board on Aging and Long-Term Care and make a contact, and we'll do a follow-up. And I'm right on it. When I'm recruiting volunteers, I'm right on it.
Very
Am I
true.
not, Erin?
Very true.
She got that for sure that day, and I called. So.
And you have to be. And I think that's
Yes.
important to know. If somebody's willing to sign up for something, you have to be there and get back to them with some kind of greeting, some kind of information to say, we really appreciate you.
Right.
Because as you said, in our city here, we shared volunteers quite a bit in all the organizations, whether it was hospitals and library or Boys and Girls Club. We shared a lot because people have a passion for more than one thing.
Right.
So you really have to treat volunteers right. And Kim, you have to be doing something good, because to keep someone for 6 years in this position.
Well,
That's
thanks,
really
John. Thanks, John.
Well, I'm so glad that you guys were on our show. This is what the show is about, to get to learn more about what's going on in our community, what can benefit you and benefit your family. So I'm so thrilled to have Erin and Kim with us, and I'm so glad that you are watching our January 2022 show of The Place to Be, Oshkosh. Thank you again for watching, and we'll see you next time.